A young woman beaten and stabbed to death on a dark, desolate road, and a rumor mill swirling about what happened to her that night. Our Katie Jeffries is taking a look back at the case that has gripped Clay County for more than 2 decades in tonight's Unsolved.
In these boxes at the Clay County Sheriff's Office lies the story of Teryl Orcutt. It begins on January 21st, 1990, early in the morning.
She was heading home about 4:30 in the morning from Jacksonville to Middleburg.
But she never made it. A man on his way to work found her car on the side of County Road 218. Door open, driver's side window down, and the engine still running. He went to the nearest store to call police. Teryl's purse was still on the driver's seat with her money and wallet untouched. Then the first break. People in a house just 500 feet from where her car was found told authorities they heard something strange early that morning.
2 people heard a female saying, "I didn't do it, I didn't do it," and then heard a car pull off.
Searches were formed, and the area around 218 was combed by investigators and volunteers. But just 7 days later, the case would turn from a missing person to a murder investigation.
Her body was found 50 feet off of this dirt road in a wooded area.
Not covered or hidden, but dumped in the tree line off Lee Road, less than 4 miles from where her car was found.
There was 2 stab wounds to the chest, and she had a broken clavicle on her left side.
Teryl's sister, Cheryl Turner, remembers the moment her mother got the news.
She didn't change, she just grabbed the sweater and her nightgown and took off up there.
They were met by the sheriff and a preacher that told them. Teryl, whose life was on the upswing, young, ambitious, about to be promoted at SunTrust Bank, her life had been viciously ended. The investigation began, first by looking at how her Thunderbird was found and her injuries. With the driver's side window down, could her broken clavicle be from someone reaching through the window and violently pulling her out? And why was she on 218 in the first place? Her sister says her route home should have been 295 to 103rd, then south on County Road 217. And what about those words, "I didn't do it," witnesses heard? And where her body was found on Lee Road, a dirt road that just connects back to Blanding.
You got to think, who knew to put her there? So someone, was familiar with the area.
Over the decades, numerous investigators have looked over this case, adding on to the already large case file. Detective Rob Schoonover says there have been a lot of persons of interest, but no specific suspects. And Teryl's family is continuing their fight for justice, no matter how difficult it seems.
My mother died of cancer before she got her answers. And I promised her while she was going through her treatment that I would push this. And I'm pushing it. But I'm not getting nowhere.
But between Teryl stopping in that dark area, her purse being left untouched, and the stabbing of a petite young woman, the location of her body, Cheryl thinks her sister knew her killer.
In my opinion, it was personal, very personal.
And the decades have not eased the still very raw pain of losing her sister. She still keeps Teryl's hope chest filled with pictures and tapes, the little things that remind her of her little sister.
It hurts like hell. She's been dead 28 years. She's only been alive 26 years. So it's a crying shame that your murder goes unsolved longer than you've been alive.
But Detective Schoonover has been going through this case piece by piece and firmly believes the truth is out there.
Someone back there in 1990, you commit a murder, you don't keep quiet, you tell somebody. Somebody knows. And all these years, the family going through this, that it's going to take someone to step up and make that phone call.
A call that would finally answer the question, who murdered Teryl Orcutt? Katie Jeffries with photographer Jeff Renfro for First Coast News.
And Detective Schoonover says that they still have all the evidence from the initial scenes, so they're going over it with FDLE to see what can be processed by today's DNA standards. But if you know anything about the murder of Teryl Orcutt, call the Clay County Sheriff's Office.